This is my recording on the play Night Mother by Marsha Norman. And, okay, so a short plot. This play is about suicide. And it is basically an hour and a half in the life of a mother and daughter who are in their home, in her mother's home. And she is preparing her mother for the fact that she is about to kill herself by gun. And in this play, the mother, of course, is very distraught and trying to talk her out of it. So the mother's in about her early 60s maybe, and the daughter might be around 40, and even has a grown son of her own, but a very young adult grown son. So that's the main plot. Like I said, it's an hour and a half long. It does not have an intermission, and it is meant to be perceived just as the last hour and a half of this young woman's life, Jessie. Okay, so they do mention other people in it. They mention Jessie's brother, they mention the mother's friend, they mention Jessie's father, but still, there are only two people ever on stage. And the entire thing is, let me see if I can move this to a point where you can see here, set to be around that doorway. That doorway should be the main focus in most of the play. And because that doorway represents the door to Jessie's bedroom, where Jessie will go to shoot herself at the end. So, short author bio. Marsha Norman was born in Kentucky in 1947. She was a journalist. She also taught children in mental institutions, and this is where she got some of the themes for her plays, perhaps this one. She wrote a couple of plays before Night Mother and was able to move to New York on that money. This is still her most popular work. It won a Pulitzer Prize in 1983. But her next one was highly criticized. So she moved to Hollywood, did some screenplays, and then she's also done some of the music for like The Secret Garden on Broadway, a few plays like that. And she spent 25 years as co-director of the playwriting department for the famous Juilliard School. So in this play, some of our themes, the first is obvious, it's suicide. To me, it was almost presented, I think it was, just as an acceptable option. The daughter does not seem to be in the depths of despair. She is actually doing fairly well right then, which is why she feels like this is the time to go ahead and do it. So she has epilepsy, which was not diagnosed until later in her life. We'll find out more about that in a minute. And so she hasn't had a seizure in about a year, and she's feeling stable and strong, and she wants to go ahead and commit suicide. The relationship between mothers and daughters. This mother, you don't really realize until a little bit into it that she is extremely controlling. As a matter of fact, she knew that the young girl and her father, Thelma's husband, Jessie's father, she knew they were both having small seizures, little tiny ones that they weren't even aware of, like sitting reading, and she'd realize that they were just, it's like the light went out, I think she says. But she never told them. And until this very night, Jessie doesn't know that her mother knew about it beforehand. So her daughter would have lived her life differently. For one thing, she would not have gone horseback riding with her husband, and she falls, and I think that it's implied leads to much larger seizures, so that now when she has a seizure, she's like flat out on the floor, and generally the mother calls an ambulance to come get her. So the relationship between mothers and daughters. It's also a lot on speaking the truth. So on this last night, the daughter finally feels like she can ask some hard-hitting questions, like, did you ever love my father? And because she has told her mother she's going to shoot herself, her mother answers her honestly and says, no, I did not. And She also, Jessie, the daughter, has a grown son who is becoming a criminal, and she's just very much like he needs to be arrested, which is not a normal mom take on their kids. They want to get them help. They want to get them out of it. They usually don't just say, hey, they're bad, arrest them. A big theme in this that I am writing my paper on is food. The mother eats a lot of sweets. The daughter is spending the night getting ready for herself to be gone and her mother to be taking care of herself. So she is stocking up all of the candy jars. It's a big thing in here, and it seems to be like a big part of the mother's life. Loneliness and a lack of agency is very much a couple of themes in this also. Jessie never leaves the house except by ambulance to go to the hospital, and when she comes to, she just comes back home. That's the only time there is no mention of any friends. Her husband has left her. She says because he told her to choose between smoking or him, and she chose smoking. But her mother says he was cheating with another woman. So she has nobody in her life. There is a lot of imagery. Like I mentioned, that door, even though it's all set in one basic room, like a great room, a living room, kitchen, that door that is Jessie's bedroom door, and where you know she will go in at the end and shoot herself, is supposed to be very ominous and threatening throughout all of the plays. It just went away. And at some point, Jessie describes her life like a bus ride, where you can stay on it for the next 50 stops, but you're still going to get off at the same spot when you get off. So she might as well hop off the bus right now. And so a main argument might be, do we have the right to kill ourselves? Should the taking of one's own life be allowed and accepted? And when is it accepted? At what point would it be okay to take your own life? Again, this is Night Mother by Marsha Norman. Thank you.